Welcome to the AI for Career Success video overview by Curt Robbins. We're experts at AI coaching and helping professionals like you and your employees upskill in AI. Today, we're going to examine a pretty high-stakes scenario. We're drawing from analysis by top geopolitical experts, all published around March 20th, 2026. Together, we'll break down the military, the economic, and the strategic dimensions of this really fast-escalating conflict. So, right at the center of all this is the Strait of Hormuz. And it's important to understand, this isn't just some narrow strip of water. It's one of the most critical choke points for the entire global energy supply chain. To really put that into perspective, analysis from John Tomase highlights that a staggering 20%, that's a full 1/5 of the world's oil exports, has to pass through this one single point. So you see, if you control this strait, you really have your hand on a major lever of the global economy. Now, the whole situation really ignited when the U.S. launched Operation Epic Fury. The stated mission, at least on paper, was quite simple: use military force to reopen the waterway and guarantee freedom of navigation. But, it's rarely that simple. As analyst James M. Lindsay points out, that initial military action very quickly began to spiral. It turns out that achieving a clear strategic victory was far more complicated as the conflict started to expand. And what we see here are two fundamentally different military doctrines clashing. On one hand, the U.S. had this very conventional objective: just reopen the waterway. On the other hand, Iran, responded with an asymmetric strategy. The idea was to widen the battlefield and inflict as much economic pain as possible. And as reported by analyst Lauren Holtmeyer, Iran's response was both swift and very strategic. They didn't just meet the U.S. head-on at sea. No, they widened the whole battlefield, striking critical energy infrastructure all across the Arabian Peninsula, hitting refineries and gas facilities in Kuwait, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. And we're not talking about a quick fix here. A statement from Qatar Energy projected that it will take 3 to 5 years just to repair their facilities. So this isn't some temporary disruption. It's a very serious, long-term blow to the global energy supply. Well, as you can imagine, this military escalation sent immediate and really powerful shockwaves all through the global economy, reaching far beyond just the regional conflict zone. The markets, they reacted instantly and violently. Citing data from both John Tomase and Lauren Holtmeyer, we can see that Brent crude oil prices just shot up to 4-year highs. They spiked over 40% in the first week alone before kind of settling into the state of extreme volatility. So just how bad was the disruption? Well, analyst Peter Ordzag puts it in very stark terms. Maritime traffic through the strait absolutely plummeted by 95%. For all practical purposes, the waterway was shut down. Ordzag's analysis is so important because it also shows how these bottlenecks just ripple across global supply chains. It goes way beyond oil and gas. Critical industrial inputs, things like fertilizers, petrochemicals, even metals, they're all choked off. And that impacts everything from agriculture to high-tech manufacturing. And this isn't just some abstract problem for corporations and governments. As A.J. Hess points out, analysis in Time magazine brings this impact right down to the consumer level. It's described not as a single price spike, but as a rolling series of shocks that hits you in the wallet again and again. So beyond all the immediate chaos in the markets, this conflict really forces us to ask some bigger strategic questions. I mean, what is the end game here for the U.S. and its global rivals? James M. Lindsay highlights what is really a central problem for the U.S. administration. You're 3 weeks and over 15,000 airstrikes into this thing, and the core strategic objective is reportedly still unclear and, frankly, constantly shifting. Lindsay's assessment really lays bare several strategic vulnerabilities for the United States. We're talking about a rapid depletion of munitions, the huge difficulty of managing the economic fallout back home, and the real challenge of countering an asymmetric strategy that cleverly avoids direct military confrontation. But is there another layer to this? According to Grant Rumley's analysis, the Pentagon might actually be seeing a strategic silver lining here. The conflict is serving as a very powerful, real-world demonstration of its advanced missile systems to other global powers. So, Rumley's analysis framed these actions as a clear strategic signal, aimed particularly at Beijing. The missile systems being proven in combat right now are the very same ones the U.S. plans to deploy in the Pacific. The message is intended to complicate any potential Chinese moves in the Taiwan Strait. And that leaves all of us with the really critical question: When a conflict is being fought on military, economic, and strategic fronts all at the same time, how does something like this actually end? Thank you for watching. This is where we teach you AI and help you get smarter than your competition. If you like these videos, use the QR code at the beginning of this video to buy us a coffee or hire us to coach you or your employees in AI. Please subscribe to the AI for Career Success YouTube channel, and of course, like, comment, and share to help us reach a wider audience.